Hello everyone, this is Joji and today is Wednesday, March 6, 2019. I really don't know what number journal this is, but probably a high number for me. It's been a long time since I last recorded because I went on holidays with my family for a long time. So it took me a while to get organized in order to record again and to have things to show and things to talk about. But I'm really, really happy to be doing it today. I hope you're all having a great week. We had a long weekend recently due to Carnival celebrations and festivities here in Argentina. Carnival days are national holidays, so we had a 4-day weekend. It was really nice and it helped us get in the rhythm of things. My kids have already started school, and so we arrived from the holidays and we had to get them ready to start their classes, and so that was last week, and that's why having a 4-day weekend right after the school started was really convenient for us parents. I'm a bit scattered today. I'm going to be as usual. I'm not going to say I'm going to be slower than usual because I'm usually very, very slow. But it's been great. We, as I told you last time I recorded, we went to Italy for 3 weeks on a family trip. So there was no work involved in this trip, and we really had a dream trip. Italy is somewhere where we've all really wanted to go for a long time, and the past few years my eldest son has been really interested in history, so he was the one who really motivated us to plan a trip to this amazing country, and we decided to take almost 3 weeks so that we could explore as much as we could, different cities and different food and different environments and landscapes. I got the feeling while visiting, we could really tell how Italy is formed by these very, very different cultures. They have a lot in common, but then everywhere you go, you see very big differences in architecture and language and food. And of course, they were different reigns and kingdoms and states. So we really, really enjoyed our time there. During the time, I shared a lot of the things that we were doing in my Instagram stories, and I know many of you are not on Instagram, and I know that a lot of people who are on Instagram don't check stories, but if you care to go and see, I am saving a lot of those images of things we did in my Instagram highlights, and I'm going to keep them up for another 2 weeks, and then I'm going to just take them down because they stop being relevant. But yeah, a lot of people were wondering what our itinerary was, where we were moving from and to where. So if you watch those in order, then you can see what we did. Anyway, that's what we did during most of February. And as I said, I try not to work when I'm away with the family, so that means that I also try to avoid going to any yarn stores so that I don't get too excited about yarn and knitting, and I don't stay too long doing things where my family don't really have a lot to do. And I once had someone say, you know, when you're on holiday, you still have to do things that are fun for you, so you should still go to yarn stores. But mind you, I am surrounded by yarn and knitting every day of my life, and I do travel for work where I basically go to a lot of yarn stores and festivals where I see yarn everywhere. So when I'm with my family, I try to do other things that are not so knitting related. However, I did meet some knitting friends when I was in Italy. So I met Geraldine. She's Gera Knits on Instagram, and her partner. We went out for some drinks with Charlie. She had been my test knitter for a while, and we have been chatting, and she lives in Rome. She was very near to where I was, so we went out for some drinks, and it was really nice to connect with her in real life and to talk about her knitting experiences. And then I also met up with Valentina. Valentina is the dyer behind Snail Yarn, and she's based outside of Rome, not too far away, about an hour from there. So one evening she drove with Paolo and Marta, her husband and her friend, and they came to have dinner at a nice restaurant with the boys and Charlie and I. That was really nice. What else? I brought some goodies home, even though I didn't go to any yarn stores. Valentina brought me some of her yarn, and also I had 2 orders that I had placed waiting for me at one of the hotels where we stayed at. So I can start by showing you those. So first, this is the yarn that Valentina brought to me. This is a skein. I don't know if the light is really good. I'm struggling to find, as you can see, I'm not at the summer house anymore. I'm back at home, and we're still renovating. Our kitchen is still not working, and we still have a lot of things to do, but the workers are gone, the noise is gone, so I can record here. Sadly, the studio where I used to record, we decided to turn it into a family room because my kids share a bedroom, and we thought they needed some more space. So that is now a lovely space with a couch where I can knit, and a PlayStation where Stevie can play, but I don't have a desk to record the journals as I used to. So I'm trying to find a nice space to do this. This is my bedroom. I have the computer over my dresser, and I think it's working out, but the light might not be the best. Anyway, so this is one of Valentina's, how can I do it? Yes, like this. This is one of Valentina's skeins of single ply. This is Snail Yarn Merino single, 100% superwash merino, and the colorway is called Bark, and it's a very neutral. No, if I place it here it's wrong, so I think this is the best. It's a very neutral toned skein, kind of gray and green and brown, sort of like a cement colorway. And then she also gifted me 4 mini skeins of the same color. I'm guessing she didn't have a full skein of these because they are the same. And this is her sock mini, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, in this beautiful dusty pink mauve. What if I... no, I cannot put the blinds down because they are blackout curtains. So this is dusty pink, and it's called Dust. It has some speckles, as you can see there. Really, really lovely. And I think I might cast on a pair of socks using this yarn. I've been wanting to make Helen's from Curious Handmade socks from her Sock Society. She kindly gifted me a subscription to her club because she's a really good friend. Thank you, Helen. And I've been longing to knit someone else's pattern for a while. So I think I might make those, I might turn those skeins into Helen's socks. Valentina also gifted me this mini skein set. This is a gradient mini skein set in the single ply, and the colorway is called Raspberry and Chocolate. And I have ideas to turn this into a little cowl design one day. So that's all from Snail Yarn. That was a gift. And then I received a parcel from Myak. Myak is this brand over here, Myak. I really like this company. The guys are really wonderful to me, very generous with their yarn and their words. And I used their yarn to make my hipster shawl. That was last year. I published that about a year and a bit ago. And I have been wanting to make a cowl version of that. So I asked Paula if she could send me some yarn in the same base that I use, but a different color. So this is their baby merino yak. I'm so bad with names of yarn. It's the medium. I think it's their baby yak and merino blend. No, this is 100% baby yak in the medium, and this is a worsted weight, and it's 50 grams skeins, 117 meters, and the color is desert. It's a gray brown. I think it suits me and my wardrobe really well. I want a substantial neutral tone cowl that I can wear over dresses, and that keeps me warm if I'm wearing my jacket open. And I thought this color was really good because it was also quite different from the shawl itself. I didn't want to have two accessories in the same color, basically because I wear my shawl all the time, and so I wanted something that's different to that. So I have 5 skeins, and this is probably going to jump on the needles really soon. It's going to have the same vibe as the hipster shawl, but it's going to be a cowl, so you don't have to fudge when you're wearing that. And Myak also sent me some skeins of their light fingering baby yak silk blend. These are 25 gram skeins and 116 meters, so it's a light fingering properly. And Paula asked me if I wanted to swatch with it, and I said sure, what color do you want? And I said pick one, and she sent a lot of colors. So this, I don't know if this is the full range of colors. I don't think it's a full range of colors, but they're definitely all colors that I really like. I do think this is more like a spring summer kind of yarn. It feels cool. I really like these two colors together. I could make a top or something out of them. So my favorite are the Prana gray and the Savitri golden yellow. What else? Yes, so this is all by Myak. And lastly, I placed an order with Uschitita. This is a company based in Germany, and I really like their colors. So I asked Stephanie if she could dye a set of 4 colors for me to use, and she dyed these up, and I really like them. I'm not sure if I'll use the 4 of them together necessarily, because I feel like the green might be too much for me, so I might use these 3, or these 3 also could be, or some other combination. But I can see how this color combination works really great for most people who are not color chicken like myself. To me, already having these 2 complementary colors together is a lot, but I think it's a genius combination. My horrible camera in my laptop and the light are not giving these colors any justice, but trust me, they are really gorgeous, and soon I will take the time to take the camera out and photograph them properly. I have some other Uschitita colors in my stash, so what I can do is go through those and see if there's another color that might replace the green and complement these 3, probably like a neutral I would add, so that I can make a nice 4 skein set for a new design. So the colors are called Storm. Horrible color representation. There you go, that's better. That's Storm. These I really like Rust lately. And this is Madras. They are based in the Netherlands. They are not based in Germany. I just met her in Germany, but she's in the Netherlands. And the last color, I think she dyed it thinking of me, because she sent this to Venice where I was staying, and she called this color Venezia, and I really like it. I think it's my favorite of them all. So I might just use these 3. I might not do like a 4 color, and I think that would be super great too. So those are my acquisitions. Sorry that the light is so terrible that you cannot see the colors properly, but I wanted to share anyway. And yes, so that's what I brought regarding yarn. And I didn't buy a lot of things in Italy. I didn't want to come home full of things. I wanted to come home full of memories. But one other thing that I bought that I really liked is when we went, well, all over Italy, but especially in Florence and Venice, we were really impressed with the paper goods. Like you probably know Venetian paper and Italian, I don't know what it's called, but like letter pressing. Those of you who know paper sure know what I'm talking about. But I bought these embossed cards. They are just plain cards, but I really like the motifs in them, and that's one thing that I'm very happy that I got, because I don't think I can get these kind of paper goods here in Argentina. So perhaps one day I'll send some of you a card and you'll receive one of these. You'll know that I brought those with me from Florence. Yes, what else? Okay, even though I was taking some time off, I had planned to release some patterns while I was away, especially because I knew that some of you were waiting for me to publish some things and you were really anxious, which is something that makes me incredibly happy, because what could be better than having someone waiting for you to publish your work? And that's the highest compliment. So I got some photos ready just before leaving. If you remember last time I recorded a journal and I told you that it was so hot and that I couldn't have photos taken, but I had to take those photos before leaving. Well, the day after was even hotter, and it was the last day for me to photo shoot. So I was brave, I man up, and I asked Charlie to take the photos. The first pattern that I published is the feature pattern of today, and it's a dark cloud. I showed you this pattern before. It's one of my favorite sweaters to wear. I took it with me to Italy. I wore it a whole lot of time. It kept me really warm, and even one day we went up to Mount Etna, and I knew that it was going to be cold, but I wasn't sure if we were going to drive up to the mountain itself, to the volcano in Sicily. And I thought of stopping at the apartment where we were staying to get more clothes, but my husband was in a big hurry to drive up, so we just went for it. And when we arrived, we realized that it was extreme weather. We are used to cold. We always carry warm clothes with us, but this was like polar temperatures. So I bundled up with everything that I had. I bundled up my kids with things that I had lying in the car, and my husband only had a windbreaker. So I told him that I had this sweater in the car, and then he could actually put it on underneath his jacket, and which he did, and he stayed warm wearing my dark cloud. It's one of the only occasions when my husband has worn a garment that I have knitted. My husband doesn't really like yarn. I mean, he really doesn't like yarn. And so that was a huge achievement for me. So this was super well received. I published it shortly after arriving to Italy. So my family and I were all so happy that everyone was celebrating my new pattern, and it really kept us super happy. I don't get to share with my family a pattern release, but during these days we were sort of doing everything together. So they were cheering me when I was publishing, and they were looking at people's reactions and checking the number of favorites and comments. So it was a really fun time to do that together and to celebrate the success of a pattern. So I really, truly appreciate that. I think this pattern is really, really flattering on everyone. You can check the gallery of projects if you want to take a look. I'm really proud of it. I shouldn't say so many nice things about something that I made, but I'm really proud of it. It's a sweater that I really, really enjoy wearing. If you haven't seen it before, this sweater was made out of Woolfolk Luft. It's a really luxurious yarn. Woolfolk is a company based in Portland, Oregon, and they source their fibers here in Argentina, in Patagonia. So if you have ever used Woolfolk Merino wool, then you know that it comes from my home country, and we create really soft things down here. I'm very proud of our fibers performance. And so I really like using their yarns. These are very expensive yarns. So I've had testers try different options, more affordable and budget friendly, and they all look really, really great. You don't need to use a very expensive yarn to make this sweater, but I really love mine. If you want to hear my experience with Woolfolk, I really truly appreciate their products very much. So that's it about Dark Cloud. A week went by, we were still traveling in Italy, and then I had a couple of designs that were ready to publish. I had photoshot a shawl also right before leaving, a shawl that I have shown in the journal before, and I was reading a lot of things on Instagram regarding racism. I'm going to talk about racism at the end of this journal also, but I was reading a lot of things and I was feeling a bit responsible, and let me tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking that most of the things that move us to do something regarding our craft, knitting, most of the suggestions and invitations and gatherings and events, virtual or in person, required us to spend a lot of money. So yes, I was coming from publishing a pattern that used a very expensive yarn, and then I was asking people to support my work by buying my pattern, and I think it's fair, that's what I do for a living, but I was feeling that we were sort of leaving out a lot of people who really can't afford to spend so much. And I thought it's so unfair, and we were living a very privileged time as a family. We were traveling abroad, which is the ultimate luxury for me, and I was feeling so grateful after publishing Dark Cloud and receiving so much support from everyone, that I thought it's really unfair for me to just sit in this pile of patterns and not think of a previous version of me as a knitter who really didn't have the kind of money that I feel now is required to be part of this community. I feel like we're always driven to spend in this new yarn or this new pattern or this retreat or that event. And while I do enjoy those things, don't get me wrong, I love spending whatever I have in my craft, and I think it brings me peace of mind, and this is what I work hard for, and this is what makes me happy. What if there's someone who really can't afford, who really cannot make enough money to do, to get a new pattern every week or to get a new skein of yarn every month on the mail? What if we're leaving those people outside our community? So I thought, okay, there's not a lot I can do to, help people earn more money. Sadly, I cannot do that, but I can extend an invitation for everyone to knit one of my patterns. That is how I felt it. I hope it reached I hope the message reached you. If you are someone who, someone in any group, not in that group, I hope that message reached you. And I also felt it was really important that you don't have to identify yourself as someone who cannot afford to pay for these things. I don't want people to say, oh, I cannot buy your pattern, and then I'm going to need this free pattern, or I cannot buy your pattern, can you give me a copy? I really wanted everyone to feel exactly the same when we are knitting this pattern. I didn't want, people saying, you know, I cannot afford this, because I don't like to say I cannot afford things. Sometimes I'm a bit too proud, and I just like to do things that I can afford to do. And I've always felt very proud of everything that I made, whether it costs little money or a fortune. So and this is all to say that I released another pattern a week later, and it's called the Odyssey Shawl. It's a shawl that I was working on last year when I was in Canada. I'm going to insert a photo of the shawl here, and it is free, and it was free, it is free, and will be free always. A lot of people have already needed it, and it makes me so happy that it reached so many of you. As every designer says, the best part of your job comes when you see people actually knitting from your patterns. So it was also maybe like a selfish way. It had a tone of selfishness because I really like when people knit my patterns. So I thought, okay, if this pattern gets to a lot of people, then maybe a lot of people will be knitting my patterns, and then I will feel really happy about it. But there was a message there, so I hope it got to you. And yeah, so the funny story about this is that I felt really good doing this, and it made me really, really happy. And the day that I published the design, I realized that actually I had lost the shawl. I had lost it. I had probably left it at the restaurant, or I dropped it, or I don't know. It was gone. So I took it with a grain of salt, and I thought, okay, maybe I was just meant to, you know, give this whole shawl away. And maybe someone found it, and maybe someone knew it was handmade, and it's keeping them cozy. I don't know. I hope so, because it was really nice. So sadly, I cannot show you that pattern, you know, that sample today. It made me sad, especially because I had only brought 2 shawls with me, and so I had to buy another one for when my kids needed one too. So I was wearing a store-bought scarf most of my trip, and not my shawl. But yeah, Odyssey is out in the world, having an Odyssey, an adventure somewhere. And yeah, so, and today I released another pattern. So we have 3 pattern releases to talk about today. Talk about BC. Last year I designed, I also don't have that to show you, so I'm just going to insert a photo here. Last year I designed a wrap that was part of Jimmy Bean's. Jimmy Bean's is a store in the USA, and they offer a craft vent kit. So it's an advent calendar consisting in 24 little boxes with little presents or little things. So each day of December you open one of these little boxes, and you by the end of it, so December 24, you open the last box, and you have a complete gift. Or most of the times advent calendars are just 24 different things that are not related to each other. In this case, Jimmy Bean's fractioned the yarns that the knitters needed to use throughout the month, and we had I had taken note of every bit of yarn that was needed for each section. We divided that into 24 little boxes, and by the end, so December 24, you could complete your wrap that is called Get Together Wrap, and you could wear it for your Christmas dinner or Christmas party. So I was very honored and touched to be asked to design for this event and these kits. When they asked me to do it, I didn't know if it was going to be a mystery knit along, if the knitters were going to see what they were getting. That was something that made me nervous, and so it really stressed me out to come up with something that knitters, most of them, would like, and then something that was entertaining to knit. So I thought, if we're going to knit this for 24 days quickly to have a finished wrap for Christmas, then it has to be something that keeps you motivated. Then I wanted something that could be divided in 24 pieces or like little sections. Also, I was asked to use yarn from different makers. So I was choosing yarns from Sweet Georgia, Madelinetosh, La Bien-Aimée, Lorna's Laces, Anzula, and that was really fun to come up with a combination that made sense and that looked good together. When I was picking my yarns, as you can see, I used several colors of Nebula from Anzula Luxury Fibers. Nebula has some sparkle to it, and I really like to use that one among the fibers that they gave me to choose, because I wanted it to be a party wrap. So I wanted it's not shiny or tacky, it's really, really nice, really elegant, and it has that little extra something that makes it something that you would wear to a Christmas party. I really like that yarn, by the way. And and also I finished it with some beads that I got at the local market, and I think Jimmy Beans sourced something similar for the knitters to use. So the result, I was really happy with it. I was nervous the whole time. When I finally finished it and blocked it, I thought, okay, this is good. I'm happy, I'm pleased, and yeah, that was great. So today I finally released that pattern as an individual pattern. Now you can knit the wrap. You don't need to buy it as a kit from Jimmy Beans. It's available as a single pattern on Ravelry. So I hope you can go check it out, and I hope you like it. I'm planning a knit along in my Ravelry group. So if you want to join us, I'm going to do a very casual, just come and knit together, knit along. In my Ravelry group, it's called Designs by Joji. And yeah, so those are my new patterns for these past few weeks. I hope you like them. Whew. So, okay. I have one finished object to show you. Because I think I had shown you these socks last time I recorded. These are I'm calling these the Chapelco socks, and they were, I think I finished them last time. I didn't bother to check, but I'm pretty sure that I showed them to you. This is the fingering weight two-tone version, and I was working on a second sample using DK weight and just one color. So I took this with me on my trip, and I finished them on the way back home because I didn't need a whole lot when I was away. So this is okay, there they are. This is the second version. This is the DK weight version in just one color, monochrome. So the pattern is going to be available in DK and in fingering weight and in one color and two colors. So you can do DK in two colors or fingering weight as a monochrome too. I made the DK ones a bit shorter because I wanted people who have just one skein of DK to be able to make the whole pair with just one skein. And it was definitely enough. My shoe size is US 9 or European 40. So I don't have a small foot and I had yarn left over. So this version, I really like it. This yarn that I use is naturally dyed. This is a Spanish dyer called Tintica, and this is her silk and merino 50-50. I think it's 50-50. I'm going to put this in my Ravelry page, the exact base and color that I use. I think it might be 70% merino, 30% silk, and it's dyed with avocado. So that's my only finished object for today. And then I have 3 works in progress. My first work in progress is a pair of socks. I'm almost done. I'm working on the second one already. And yes, so you might remember this because I showed them 2 journals ago and they had a texture on them, and I told you that I really wasn't sure whether I liked the texture. I wished I had done them differently and that I was too stubborn to just frog and start over, but then I just couldn't stand that texture. I really didn't like it, so I just frogged it and I started over, and I just did a vanilla sock, plain stockinette stitch, 64 stitches, and there they are. The yarn that I'm using is a special ball by Bilum, and these are sock skeins, or they come caked up, and so you need one sock by using the thread from the outside, and then you need the other sock using the thread from the inside. As you can see, I'm using from the inside now. I'm moving towards the purple, and I didn't go to the purple on the first sock, so I'm probably not going to get to the purple on the second sock, but that's okay. I really like them without the purple too. These are probably going to be a gift for someone that I really like, and I'm not going to say who. But yes, I really like them. I really like the yarn. This was an inexpensive or relatively inexpensive purchase. I brought this from Barcelona Knits. Bilum is a Hungarian company, and they were selling all kinds of fibers, but for some reason their sock yarn was really reasonably priced compared to other bases. So I think I got 2 skeins of sock yarn, gradient sock yarn, 75% merino, 25% nylon, for something like 22 euros. So 11 euros each. So it's not cheap, but it's definitely cheaper than other hand-dyed yarns, and these are hand-dyed. So, and the base is really sturdy and nice. It's super soft. So pleased. I have another skein of these, so I'm happy I got those. I really like this. My other work in progress is a big one. Okay, here it is. I'm about to bind off for the body, but I was too lazy to do it before recording. So this is my cabled and bubbles sweater that I showed during the last journal. I am making it slightly cropped, not too cropped, but as you can see, I'm already about to bind off. I didn't bind off because I want to do a tubular bind off, and I have to go look at the directions, and then I have to graft the stitches together. So I know it's going to take some time, and I was too lazy to do it, but it's moving slowly. I have spent a long time knitting on this thing. This is the length that I'm aiming for. As you can see, it's slightly cropped, but not too cropped. It's like a bomber style cardigan. I want something shorter to wear with loose dresses like the one I'm wearing today, because otherwise I look too big, like big dress and big coat and big everything. I'm okay with that too, but I like something different. So this is a drop shoulder, a really nice construction for the drop shoulder this time with increases, which makes the shoulders slightly more dropped. And then I have these stitches on hold here. I'm going to pick up stitches and work the sleeve. And when I finally get my act together and bind off for the body, I'm going to pick up stitches for the button band. And I'm going to pick up stitches for the neckband. And yeah, and that should be it. Wonder if I have my buttons somewhere so I can show them to you. No, just one more sec. I have so many things in these baskets, but no, they are not here. I plan to use some black buttons that I brought from Canada. The yarn that I'm using, I'm loving it. I really like it. I know I talked about it in my last journal, but as you can see, I have knitted a lot more, and I cannot say enough nice things about it. It feels so nice. It's only 2 plies, and it feels like 2 plies of Tosh Merino Lite plied together. This is called Farm Twist by Madelinetosh, and the color is Pavement. And I have 6 skeins of this. I think it will be plenty. I think I might use 5.5 or 5, yeah, 5.5. Which is because I knitted with tight, not tight, but like sturdy gauge, and there's a lot of texture here, and as you cannot see it a lot because it's not yet blocked, but it's boxy, so it's loose and boxy. And so yes, I'm going to use probably a lot of that yarn. And yeah, so that's my cable and bowl cardigan. And my last work in progress, I'm using this lovely project bag that I received as a gift from Open Studio 79. Tatiana, thank you again. These are naturally dyed, and they are a way of reducing waste. Tatiana uses these sheets to naturally dye her yarn, and then she uses them to make these bags. And I'm working on a shawl. I also showed this last time. I have no new projects. Well, the socks are kind of new because I frogged the old ones and started new ones. But I'm working on this new shawl design, and I'm calling it Ziggy because it has some zigzags, and it's a triangular shape, really classic, and it's going to be this motif, this zigzagging motif repeated over and over again. So we have a zigzag and a garter stitch band, and then a zigzag garter stitch band, and so on. So it's going to be relaxing, and I'm finding a lot of quiet in knitting this yarn. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, there's a hair. This yarn is Sock Lite by Olann from Ireland, and the colorway is Ghostrider. This is sock yarn, so it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, but it feels super soft. I'm not going to use this yarn for socks. I'm going to use it for this beautiful shawl. I told the story about this yarn in the last journal, and I'm enjoying it so much. I especially love that I can work, thinking, and I make mistakes in the lace, so I need to go back, correct them, and make sure that everything's working out properly. And then when I finish a band, I get to the relaxing part when this is just garter stitch, and I'm just going to enjoy it. So I'm really enjoying this new shawl design. I will soon be done with my socks, so I will probably start a new pair of socks. I'm not going to design that pair, and I would like to start another new design soon. But first, I think I need to write a bit more on the cable pullover before I can turn my brain into more designing mode. What else? Okay, I talk about FOs and whips. Okay, now I want to show you something really special that I received, and it's something truly unique and magnificent for me. So last weekend I went to a knit night with my local friends, and there are some of these girls that have been my friends for many years. I've met some of them online being pregnant with Sebi, and some of them met Sebi when he was still a baby and he wasn't walking. So I can't believe it's been so many years since we started our Ravelry group, and also there were some new friends that I hadn't met before, and there were some not new but not old friends. So these are some girls that I met last year and that I really like. So my friend Ale was the hostess, and we were a group of about 12 girls, and one of them is called Anita, and she is a potter, so she does ceramics and pottery. And my friend Ale asked her if she would do something for me, and Anita said that she also wanted to make something for me, so they got together and thought about something. So last Saturday I was surprised with this gift. So this is a ceramic version of one of my designs. I don't know if you recognize it, but even the lace is spot on. So this is Anita's version of Old Romance as a ceramic piece. Anita is Anita_knits on Instagram, and you can find her on Ravelry too. And Anita has been making these sweaters, these ceramic sweaters, with a lot of other designers too. She has been making sweaters by Caitlin Hunter, and okay, I'm not going to remember all the lovely things that she made as gifts for her dear friends. I don't know if she would sell this. I think you could ask her, but I was so honored because, as I said, as a designer the best thing that could happen to you is when someone picks up one of your patterns and they knit it. But then the fact that that process inspires someone from another craft to create something based on those designs actually fills me with pride. So this is my little pot, all romance. It's a plant pot, actually. I didn't want to plant a pot here yet because I wanted to show it to you without a plant, but I think I'm going to plant something nice because I really like plants. I'm going to plant something inside, and it's going to be my sweater plant. Thank you, Anita. This is something really special that I will treasure forever and ever. So that's it for today. Before going, I'm going to talk about racism for a few minutes, and I invite you to stay and hear what I have to say about this. But I understand this is a sensitive subject for many people, so if you're not staying, thank you for staying so far, and see you next time. So, as you all know, racism has been a big, important topic on social media and every platform. I have spoken a bit about it, not a ton, but I have said things that are truly heartfelt, and I thought I needed to talk a bit more today, so I hope it's okay. I haven't spoken a lot about racism because I've been reflecting on what my place is in this topic. It's a bit embarrassing to say, but I don't know where I stand racially in this discussion. So I don't know what voice I need to take. So for some people, I'm a white person. For other people, I'm a person of color. For me, I'm me, which doesn't mean that I don't have a color. I know exactly who I am, but I don't know what voice I can have in this discussion. So that makes me very insecure regarding the things that I can, should, or want to say. So I haven't been silent, but I haven't said a lot of things. And I just thought I just really wanted to share with you my experience with racism. I have a very privileged life. I'm a privileged lady. And my privilege comes from education. My privilege comes from having a family who nurtured me and cared about me. I found a partner in life that I loved, and he loved me back. And our relationship has been welcomed by everyone. We could afford to live in a beautiful place and raise 2 children who are very healthy and they love us. So that means, or for me, it means that my psychological structure is very strong. That means that every time something affects me and makes me sad, I have this support group, being my mom, being my husband, being my children, and many friends who can be there for me and support me. So my self-esteem, my confidence is quite strong, even though sometimes it flakes. I have experienced racism in my work. and in my working environment in the past many times. And sometimes it's been obvious, sometimes it's been, I didn't like your comment so much. The fact that I'm Latin American comes as a surprise to many people, and I take it with humor. I take it as a compliment, but I can see how sometimes some of these comments might hurt people's feelings. Whenever I read about racism experiences from knitters, I think if I have been subject to racist comments and actions, and being that I'm a privileged person, being that I'm a well-known designer, being that I feel welcome and celebrated everywhere I go, and still some things get to me and hurt me. If those things hurt me, how can someone who's not so privileged feel when something like that happens to them? So I just wanted to say that racism exists. It's there. It's bad. It's built in, and it hurts. So I don't agree with attacking someone, but I also don't think that this conversation should ever be dismissed, and I'm very grateful that it has come up. And of course, as in every movement, there are some actions that we don't agree with, and there are some other actions that we agree with, and that there will be things that we consider, oh, this was unfair, and there will be other things that we will think, oh, that wasn't enough. But I try to see the important picture here, it's that people who are really hurting are talking about something that has happened to me, and I wouldn't want that to happen to me ever. I can tolerate it, I can be okay with it, I can smile about it, but I don't enjoy it, and I wouldn't want it to happen to anyone ever also. So yeah, that's where I stand about racism. I tried to read about racism, but I have to be honest, some of the words used in the literature are very hard for me to understand. The way the texts about racism are written is quite complex. I have a good level of English, but I feel like I'm not getting half of the things that I read. So I just read a lot of Instagram about it, and I try to educate myself. And I know that in my country we don't have the same forms of racism as in the US or in Europe, in some places of Europe, but there is racism in my country. So I'm probably guilty of a lot of racist actions too. So what I'm trying to do is to be a good human being and think hard every day of every action that I take and every comment that I make, and try to mostly not hurt anyone with things that I do or say. So this is my way of inviting you to have an open mind about everything, and I don't know. I just hope I'm giving the right message, because this is important to me, and it does affect me a lot. So thank you for staying, and see you next time. Bye.